Star Wars Battlefront 2, the best Star Wars game. Heck, I'd personally say best licensed game or just the best game. But as the title says, this masterpiece of a video game seems to have taken inspiration from the 2003 Clone Wars miniseries when it comes to the fast-paced, action, power fantasy gameplay when looking at how the saber wielders operate. Let me just give a reminder of how the action scenes in the 2003 Clone Wars were. The series was filled with insanely fast movement, whether it be sprinting or lightsaber deflection. Force moves were also present and had a really wide or long radius in a lot of scenes, Mace Windu's scene being one of the biggest examples. A lot of explosions were also present, as droids would often explode when taken down with slashes or other methods. They blew up like vehicles, and that was something that wasn't really shown in the movies, more so something that I've only seen in this show. Droids exploded like this in the very first Battlefront from 2004, so maybe their inspiration went further back given that the show predates Battlefront as a whole. Now let's get into the examples of these things within the game before I get onto my secondary points. Jedi would sprint insanely fast in these games to the point where Jedi have never been faster, with the closest exception being in the first EA Battlefront with Luke Skywalker and his speed trait when at level 3. In combination with the speed, the animation didn't look that far off from Mace Windu's scene, where he ran like a Jedi Usain Bolt with high speeds and big strides. The game also shared crazy jumps, as you can jump at the very end of a ramp-like surface on the smallest of bumps, which will make your jump even higher than it would usually be. Similar to Crash Team Racing, believe it or not, as this would also apply to the speeders. This one may be a coincidental reach, but there's this one cool, badass moment in the show where Obi-Wan makes a high jump on a speeder, and then force jumps off of the speeder in midair. Not to the same high extent, but you can also do this in Battlefront as well. It goes even harder if you do it as Darth Vader. Then we have saber attacks and death animations when involving droids. Saber attacks in the game were beautifully crafted due to how great the hitboxes were on its own merits, or even when compared to other Battlefronts where they sort of became a joke in both EA Battlefronts. But anyway, the droids would often explode when you take them out with slashes or saber throws, similar to the show once again. Destroying a bunch of droids as a Jedi and seeing all these explosions really went hard. Then we have blocking, which is one of my favorite visual aspects of the original Battlefronts. The blocking animations would accurately snap to the near exact angle of where the attack was made, whether it be sabers or blasters. It would even match the speed, which could lead to amazing visuals when blocking rapid fire or various other fast shooting methods such as multiple gunmen or the attacks of General Grievous. The insanely fast visual style of blocking has only been seen in the 2003 series. I wouldn't expect live action to be able to portray blocking like this, to be honest, as amazing and top tier as those 6 films are. Blocking gets taken a step further with the ability to block huge blaster bolts from vehicles, along with laser beams from spider droids or tanks. There's nothing these sabers can't block, similar to the 2003 series once again, where Mace Windu has a shot of him blocking a similar beam. But yeah, blocking is top tier in these games and actually beats Star Wars games that came out after it, with how accurate the blocking positions are in accordance to the shots, to the point of putting more modern Star Wars games to shame. We have the rarely seen and debated Force ability called Force Flight that's shown briefly in the 2003 series with Count Dooku. I believe the 2003 series was the earliest example of the ability I could find an example of, and Battlefront 2 takes it up a notch by giving it to the top tier Sith Lords like Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, who can fly to greater extents than Dooku does, whether it be the show or the game where they limit him to jumps. Vader basically flies and hovers with his dash, and the Emperor is actually always hovering, even in his basic stance. The Force Unleashed would go on to continue to use this ability with the Emperor in the final boss fight. Now sure, one could maybe call these similarities subjective and a happy coincidence, but then there's the original Xbox DLC where the cases become so objective to the point where it sort of credits everything I said before. The DLC added a hero and a villain, Asajj Ventress, whose first appearance was in the 2003 Clone Wars series. They gave her an outfit from the Dark Horse comics though, but she has the eyes of the 2003 series, as opposed to having pupils like the comics or her 2008 Clone Wars appearance. That of course came out 3 years after this game. The game did take some creative liberties with Ventress by giving her lightsaber nunchucks and these star blades that ricochet, which wasn't really seen in any other Star Wars media, although I found them to be a badass and cool addition on their own merits given the fun, unique gameplay it provides, as discussed in a full review I gave her. One of the 4 DLC maps returning from the first Battlefront is Yavin Arena, and the playable heroes on it are Asajj Ventress for the CIS and Anakin Skywalker for the Republic, which is a reference to the 2003 series where they dueled on that planet in an area with a very similar setting. But anyway, now we have Kit Fisto, who may be an even more similar example to the 2003 series despite him being a character that first appeared in Attack of the Clones. His outfit is directly ripped out of the 2003 Clone Wars series, along with his lightsaber that has a unique glow effect, like the show did. And then we have a unique Force move that Kit Fisto pretty much pioneered, called the Force Orb. In the show, he uses it to take out a large droid ship. The game shrinks down this move and removes its requirement of water, but as you can see, the move operates in a very similar fashion. It's actually a fairly overpowered move at times. He has a unique hand-to-hand melee option, which gives Mace Windu vibes from that one scene where he just started punching the super battle droids. This similarity may be a bit of a reach since it wasn't given to Mace Windu himself. As amazing as Battlefront 2 was, it was still a rushed game given some minor bugs that can hamper the experience. I would like to think that if this game wasn't forced to be rushed for the release date of Revenge of the Sith, or if they had the modern, taken for granted privilege of easy patches, then these bugs wouldn't have been present, and they would have given Mace Windu these hand-to-hand moves instead. A lot of those bug fixes were things that the Classic Collection was supposed to do, as I've said before. But anyway, with all this being said, the objective DLC examples really make the gameplay examples seem uncoincidental. Overall, I adore the power fantasy, high skill ceiling gameplay of the Saber users in the original Battlefront 2. Apart from avoiding the things that can insta-kill you like the mines and charges, I don't really think any other Star Wars game makes you feel this powerful and impactful. The only rival I can think of is Starkiller in The Force Unleashed, but that's more of an environmental damage one-up that game has as opposed to the speed and the ability to kill multiple people in quick succession that I believe you get more of in Pandemic's Battlefront 2. But yeah, that's pretty much every similarity and inspiration I could track down. Comment if you think some of what I said was a coincidence, or if you have anything else to add in terms of Battlefront inspirations. Thanks for watching.